A temple is always a temple, whether it is being worshipped and whether it is in use or disuse and so on. And therefore, there was a Ram temple, we all know that. And that Ram temple, Archaeological Survey of India had, on the direction of the Supreme Court, investigated and said where the Babri Masjid stood, below it, there is a base, a foundation of a very large temple, and its materials like pillars and so on were used to construct the Babri Masjid. And then the great son of Andhra, Narasimha Rao as Prime Minister, told the Supreme Court by way of affidavit that if it is ever shown that there was a pre-existing temple and then only after that a Babri Masjid was constructed, then we will hand over the land to the Hindus. And I think that is why Narasimha Rao should be considered as a person who not only brought us economic reforms, but he tried to protect the heritage of our country. And I hope the Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, will listen to my suggestion that the next Republic Day he should get Bharat Ratna. Now you see, how do we worship Paramacharya now? I would not say that, yes, his body is gone, but he permeates the atmosphere. And even today, whenever I have a difficult problem, I get up at 4 a.m. in the morning and meditate on him, and I always find some solution. In this Ram temple matter, the dispute so far was on property. The Sunni Waqf board says that Babar captured this property and therefore it is a Waqf property now. It belongs to the Muslims. They don't say that there was a masjid and that masjid should be rebuilt. No, this Sunni Waqf board's petition says that this property belongs to the Sunni Waqf board. And the Hindu parties like the Akhadas and the Ram Janmabhoomi Nyas Samithi, they say we were trustees of a temple, Ram temple, our ancestors, and therefore it should be returned to us. So the matter was lying for 7 years without being heard. It took 16 years for Allahabad High Court to hear it. And then they gave a judgment, largely in favor of the Hindus, but it was not acceptable to the Muslim community, so they appealed to the Supreme Court. Now in the Supreme Court for 7 years, there was no hearing, and neither party wanted to accelerate it. So I meditated one day on Paramacharya. I said, how do I get in? Because I'm not a party, I didn't have a temple there. So I only can worship, that's all I can do. Then the thought entered my mind, why not I say to the Supreme Court, these people are fighting for only property. Whereas I want my fundamental right to pray where Ram was born, where faith tells me Ram was born. And that is a fundamental right according to Article 25. So I went to the Supreme Court and I said, these people are fighting for property, I'm not concerned with that. Give me my fundamental right, which is today blocked. And I gave reasons for it. The court was so impressed, they said, why don't you become a party in the main matter? I said, how can I don't have any property interests. They said, no, it doesn't matter, we will direct the court that you be made also party, you can argue. So that is how I've entered the Ram temple matter, and I have to thank Paramacharya for this. One more incident I'll give you, and then I will try to conclude by giving some general issues that arise from the writings of Paramacharya. Oh, okay. Now I've been told that Article 25 was included by the Constituent Assembly on the suggestion of Paramacharya itself. Thank you. See, one day, yes, that's right, yes, an additional vitamin, yes. One day, see, fishermen from Tamil Nadu, Ramanathapuram, they came to me saying that we are not allowed to fish in an island called Kachativu. Kachativu was originally part of India. But Mrs. Gandhi decided to give it to the Sri Lankans on the condition that fishermen can go and rest on that island between India and Sri Lanka called Kachativu. And they can dry their nets there and so on. And so therefore, that facility should be there. It was part of the agreement. But Sri Lanka was not honoring that. And anyway, any police fishermen came, they were arresting them. So they came to me. So I said, okay, I will get hold of a boat and you all follow me. And I like to see how Sri Lanka will arrest me. So then we land there to establish our point. So they all agreed. I announced it. M.G. Ramachandran was the chief minister. So I landed in Madurai to go to Rameshwaram, and then and then from Rameshwaram go to not Rameshwaram, to Ramanathapuram coast, and then take a boat and go to Kachativu. Now, what happened is, as soon as I landed in Madurai, M.G. Ramachandran arrested me and put me in a 5-star hotel and said, till you promise to go back to Delhi, I will not let you go. So I waited for one day and then I got bored, and so I said, okay, I will go back to Delhi. So I went to Madras to go to Delhi, and Madras had some spare time, so I said, let me go and see Paramacharya. So I went and saw him. I told him I did this and all that, and this is what M.G. Ramachandran has done. So he said, oh, he did like that. You go to Supreme Court and file a petition. So I said, you want me to file a petition for arrest in Madurai in Supreme Court? He said, yes, sir. And then you go and file it in Supreme Court. So I came, my wife is a lawyer, I'm not a lawyer, I studied law but I didn't take a degree. I wanted to be an economist. So I told my wife, please draft a petition for, in the Supreme Court, saying that my fundamental rights are violated by being arrested and all that. So my wife said, are you crazy? For a police action, you go to the lower magistrates court first, then go to the sessions court, then come to the high court, then come to the Supreme Court. Come straight to the Supreme Court, they will laugh at you. They'll fine you. I can't do it. I'll feel ashamed when they rebuke you in court. I said, see, Paramacharya has said that I should file a case in Supreme Court. I am not ready to listen to any argument. You either draft it. Don't come to court on that day so that you don't feel any sense of shame. But you file it for me. So she filed. But anyway, as a loyal wife, she came to the court also. And we were sitting waiting for the judge to come, Justice Venkatramayya from Karnataka. He was Supreme Court judge, very, very superb judge. So he came and he sat down. Before he came, all these lawyers were asking me, why have you come, why have you come? So I told them this. They said, what? You come for this? You'll get they will impose cost on you. They will make fun of you. Why are you doing this? Don't try to quietly go away. So I said, no, I've been told by the highest authority. So when my petition was called, the government Attorney General and Solicitor General stood up and said, this petition is an insult to the Supreme Court. An arrest takes place and he is not put in inconvenience, he put in a 5-star hotel, and therefore to come here to the Supreme Court, then every police complaint, people will come to Supreme Court. They'll make a laughing stock of the Supreme Court. So please dismiss this immediately. Now I don't know what happened to Justice Venkatramaiah that day. He said, why? Why was he arrested in the first place? So he said, no, he is under danger from LTTE. So to prevent the LTT from, killing him on his way to Kachativu, we wanted to protect him. He said, what? To protect him, you arrest him. You go and arrest the LTT people. So these Attorney General are shocked. What is this behavior of the judge? No, he says, this is not the way. Tomorrow you will say judges of the Supreme Court also cannot go to Kachativu. I mean, where will you draw the line? This trend I don't like. I want you to give me an explanation. So the Attorney General said, we will take instructions from the government and come back. Please give us 2 days time. So for 2 days it was adjourned. They went and told Rajiv Gandhi, he was the Prime Minister then, I'm talking of 1988, and said that this is the thing and the court is getting very upset. So Rajiv Gandhi said, don't worry, tell them that he can go and we'll give him protection. So they came back the next day and said, Dr. Swamy can go to Kachativu and we'll give full protection. So, my work was done. I was shocked, but I said, this is not my doing, it is Paramacharya's doing. Nobody thought this could ever happen, but it happened. Now, I went back to Kachativu, and what do I see? There's no question of just protection. The battleships of the Indian Navy, the Air Force, everybody is there. And I was accompanied in royal fashion. And the Sri Lankan government also said, why is Swamy getting so angry with us? He is welcome to Sri Lanka also. And we have never stopped him. It is his chief minister who stopped him. Now see, how do I describe this? That on a matter on what can be proceeded against in Supreme Court, the Paramacharya says, don't put it in Supreme Court. So today when people ask me, you are not afraid of anybody. Why? Because whenever there is any doubt, I think of Paramacharya, and that's why I have never any problem. I've rarely lost a case. Whenever I have taken a difficult task, I have thought of Paramacharya, even now, and he is everywhere. His body may not be here, but he is everywhere. And therefore, it was a great privilege, as our chairman just now said, that it is in our lifetime we could see him. He was always had a smiling face. He was ready. He knew already what was in my mind. There were so many problems, small problems of politics, which he would answer. He never ever hesitated. And somehow, I think anyone who didn't come for himself, I didn't come to ask for my promotion or my transfer or something like that, which many people had come. I'd come for national problems. And today, because of my relations with China and my relations with Israel, all over the world there is great recognition and respect for. How can a man who's anti-communist be friends with China? Even today, the Chinese have just invited me 2 days ago to come to in the winter to a place in northern China where they build palaces out of ice, which is a world wonder to see it, despite all our bad relations. And I think Paramacharya had something in mind when he said, you must befriend China. And being divine, you don't question. And it was a great sorrow when Jayendra Saraswati was arrested. There is this conspiracy against Hindu religion, which we must wake up to. One thing he told me, always work for the unity of Hindus. Because 800 years Hindus have been fighting First against the Muslims, then 200 years against the British, who were really Christians. And we haven't had time to further develop our religion. So what he used to call as Marumalarchi, which means Renaissance. And that, you see, is what we should work at. He said that this Varna system is only birth-based to the extent that you are Jnani and Tyagi. If you are not Jnani and Tyagi, you cannot be a Brahmin. It doesn't matter in which family you are born in. If you become a Jnani and Tyagi, you become a Brahmin. So to unite the Hindu nation has become, he kept saying, when we became independent, he was interviewed in 1947, August.